Welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today we are gonna take a look at Sandrone, or Sandrone, as they haven't gotten used to the E not being silent, but yeah, she is finally here and she's amazing and I can't wait to try her out. I have of course already built her, so let's not waste any time and take a look at her build. So as you can see, my Sandrone is level 90 with 2800 attack and 197 elemental mastery, and she also has 66 crit rate and 219 crit damage, though that crit rate is actually gonna be 82 in battle, since she gets an additional 16% from her artifact set against opponents affected by superconduct or stellar conduct, which is basically always gonna be the case in the teams that you usually use her in. So yeah, she actually has 82 crit rate. It just doesn't show in the stat screen. And yeah, also 133 energy recharge. Her burst actually can do some pretty good damage, so a little bit of energy recharge doesn't hurt, but I don't think she needs a lot of it. And the weapon I'm using is her signature weapon, the Teaspoon of Transcendence. I really like the name, and yeah, also it looks beautiful. Really fits her. And then as for the artifacts, I of course gave her the new set Disenchantment in Deep Shadow, since that's kind of made for her. And for those of you who've seen my Sandrone building video that I made a few days ago, this is actually not exactly the same build. I did switch it around a bit. I had the Sands as an off piece and had this circlet on her previously, but then I leveled this up since it has 4 useful substats for her, and it actually rolled a lot into crit rate, 3 crit rate rolls. So I decided to use this instead and go back to an onset Sands, since I already have a decent one here. And this resulted in a little bit less crit rate. We had 85 before, including the 16% from here. Now it's 82, like I said before. But we do have more crit damage now and more elemental mastery, so overall I think this is the better build. And yeah, let's take a look at all these artifacts real quick. I focused mainly, of course, on crit rate and crit damage. As you can see, the attack sense already showed that, attack goblet, and of course the crit damage circlet that I also already showed. Then as for the constellations, she is Z0, and the talents are all at level 9, but I do actually have enough materials to triple crown her, so I'm probably gonna do that at the end of the video, but first I'm gonna show her with level 9 talents, since not everyone is gonna crown her, of course. But yeah, that's my Sandrone, so let's talk about teams now, since she has some interesting options here. First and foremost, there is a character that hasn't really seen much use for a long time, Yae Miko, but she now finally gets her time on the stage again, since she's actually one of Sandrone's best teammates. So if you have her, use her with Sandrone. If you don't have her, there's still some alternatives, like for example, Beidou. She also got buffed, so she works really well in stellar conduct. Or you could even use Official, especially if you use her with Nicole. If you have Nicole, where is she? Yeah, I have her here. And Nicole's actually also a really good buffer for Sandrone and part of her premium team, as far as I know. So yeah, there are some pretty good options. But we're also probably gonna get some more good supports or sub DPS for her in Snezhnaya. And also, let's not forget about Chi-Chi. She's also actually pretty good for Sandrone. She can buff stellar conduct by a lot with the new buffs. And yeah, I actually built Chi-Chi for this. I finally did it after all these years. She's only level 80, but she is built. I mean, I can show it real quick. Build is nothing special. She has 1800 attack. She actually has a decent crit rate and crit damage. Even though she doesn't really need that, you don't really need any crit on her, since she's not really here to do damage. It's better to have some more energy recharge, even though you also don't really need her burst. Honestly, the only thing you need is attack, I guess. But I did go for a bit of crit rate because she has the Favonius sword. And as for the artifacts, I'm using Tenacity of the Millilith because now she has 100% uptime on her skill with the new buffs, so that means 100% uptime on Tenacity, which means a permanent 20% attack buff. Just gonna show the artifacts real quick. I don't want to waste too much time here on Chi-Chi, since the video is not about her. My Chi-Chi is C3 and her talents are currently at 6, 8 and 8. I also kinda rebuilt my Yae Miko for this, since before she had a pretty different build. Now she has 2-piece attack combination, since I didn't have enough artifacts on Sandrone's set to build Miko with that as well. Though that is now her best artifact set, I think. And also, of course, she now wants an attack goblet and not an electro damage goblet anymore, if you use her in a stellar conduct team. But yeah, and then to complete her premium team, like I said, Nicole is gonna be our 4th team member, so that's the premium team. But I, of course, do wanna also try her with some of the other characters. I wanna see how well this works with Beidou instead of Yae Miko, and I'm also gonna try to find some replacement for Nicole, for the people who don't have her. But for now, let's just try this premium team. And now we're over here at Masanori, my favorite test subject. Is he gonna be strong enough for this showcase? Probably not. We're probably gonna have to go to Kongamato really soon, since Masanori these days just doesn't have enough HP for these new characters. But let's just try Sandrone on her own first without any support and see what she does. We basically just use the charge attack, then she does a bunch of damage here. And then after it overloads like this, you just use the skill to get rid of the overload. She does some damage there as well. And then you just rinse and repeat. That's how you use Sandrone. But yeah, as you can see here, she's only doing normal cryo damage, no stellar conduct here. Because of course you have to trigger some stellar conduct first for her to then do stellar conduct with her charged attack. There we go, 49k. That's actually not bad, 49k per hit. And yeah, now we are not getting anything anymore because the stellar conduct is already over. So you have to constantly keep it up, which is why you do want an off-field electro applicator like Yae Miko. So if we just do this and then try Sandrone again, we should get consistent stellar conduct now. And Masanori is already dead. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. He just dies too fast these days for these new DPS characters. Oh well, let's just go in and do this again. And this time do stellar conduct from the beginning. So first we set up Yae Miko stuff, and then we just do charge attack here. Yeah, we're getting pretty decent damage. Then we do this, we get 30k there from the skill. So that also does good damage. We get 50k from the charge attack. Yeah, overall pretty good. And he's already dead again. So just with Yae Miko and Sandrone, he already dies way too quickly. They're already doing so much damage. And I haven't even used Nicole and Chi-Chi yet, which are the main buffers here. So we're gonna see a lot bigger stellar conduct numbers after we use those two. Since Yae Miko doesn't really buff Sandrone, she is just a really good sub DPS for her. Also, by the way, my Miko is still C0, but I am gonna get the C1 soon from the To Temper Yourself and Journey Fire event. I've selected her here, and it's only like one more week before we get the constellation. So I'm gonna have a C1 Yae Miko. Maybe I'm gonna do another showcase then to see how much of a difference it makes. I've heard some people say that her C1 is really good in Sandrone teams. So yeah, probably worth at least a short, maybe a full video. We'll see. But yeah, let's now use the full team. So let's go with Nicole first, then we apply some Electro for Chi-Chi to trigger some stellar conduct, and then damage. 88k there per charge attack hit. I saw over 90k there in the end, and he's already dead. We didn't even get to use the skill to decrease the cooldown. And also we haven't used her burst yet, which you want to do at the end of the rotation. We just haven't gotten to that point because Masanori dies too fast. But yeah, basically every time you use your skill to decrease the cooldown of the charge attack, you get some stacks for the burst, and the more stacks you have, the more damage the burst is gonna do. It's basically a nuke that you use at the end of the rotation. But yeah, again, Masanori, not really enough for this. So let's go over to Kongamato in Natlan, the tankiest boss in the overworld, with 1.6 million HP. Can we actually get to the end of the rotation here? That is the question. So we start with Nicole again, get the shield up, set up Yae Miko's turrets, and then we trigger some stellar conduct and unleash Sandrone. And again, he's dying too fast. I think I have to use the burst here already. Oh, 146k, but that wasn't a crit. We missed the crit there, and it still did almost 150k. 150 damage almost on a non-crit. Oh my god, the nuke is gonna be huge when it actually crits. But yeah, that was fast. I was thinking maybe we could get 3 of the charge attack rotations in here with Sandrone. Charge attack, then skill, then charge attack, skill again. I thought we could do this 3 times, but after 2 times he was already almost dead, so I had to use the burst. So maybe 2 times really is the max you can do against most enemies. Actually, most enemies don't even survive the first charge attack. So yeah, it's probably really just in Stygian Onslaught where you get to do this 3 times before using the burst. And maybe sometimes in Abyss. But needless to say, that is some very good damage. We killed Kongamato so fast. Like, we just shredded through his 1.6 million HP like it was nothing. That is some insane DPS. But let's go and reset the boss and see if we can maybe get the burst to crit this time. Also, Sandrone can just float like this. It's pretty fun. You basically fly. I've already explored some parts of the moon with her, and it's so fun. She's a really good exploration character as well. Let's see. 360k! Oh my god, that's so good. And that's on top of all the damage her charge attack is already doing. She gets a big nuke on top of that as well. She's just so good. She is so good. Yeah, needless to say, she is probably at the top of the meta right now, as expected of a new DPS. The power creep is getting worse, but in this case I don't mind because I love Sandrone so much. Now let's see how fast you can kill Kongamato with more of a free-to-play team. So if you replace Yae Miko with Beidou here, and then Nicole with, I don't know, I don't actually know who we should use as an alternative here. Probably like Bennett or Janssen, but both of them are not built on this account. For now let's just go Sucrose. Because I think if we do Swirl Cryo here and decrease Cryo resistance, that is gonna affect the damage, and also she can buff Elemental Mastery. So this should work pretty well actually. Okay, what is gonna be the best rotation here? I think we just start with Chi-Chi and then maybe Sucrose and Beidou last. So we can swirl the Cryo here. Then we do this. And then unleash Sandrone. Okay, we are still doing pretty good damage here. Let's use the burst. Okay, 260k, that's still really good. And we still kill him pretty fast. It was easily one rotation still. And yeah, we did like 130k on the charge attacks. So overall, not a bad team either. Just a standard 5-star and 2 4-stars work really well here with Sandrone. So even though Yae Miko, of course, is her best sub DPS, and having Nicole, of course, is also really nice, you don't actually need them. Sandrone can still do a lot of damage even without them. I mean, yeah, as to be expected of a new meta DPS, but I think it's always good to know that there are free-to-play options. Anyway, now that we've tested all this, let's actually go to the Miliastra Wonderland test dummy and see how much this all is in terms of DPS. And I'm actually gonna try the free-to-play team first. And also one thing worth mentioning is that Beidou is actually better in AoE scenarios, so against a single target like Kongamato before, or now the DPS test dummy, some of her potential is sadly wasted since her burst works best when it can jump between different enemies, which doesn't happen at all when there's only one enemy, so the DPS number we're gonna see here could probably still be higher if there's more than one enemy. Just wanted to mention that, but yeah, let's go in now and do this. Okay, we're already at 60k here. Now let's use the burst. Then set up the next rotation. Beidou doesn't have her burst, that's bad. Sandrone also didn't get back her burst in time, so yeah, we have some energy issues in this team. And the DPS is visibly suffering from that. Can we get 60k at least? Yeah, okay, 61k. Definitely could be better if my characters here wouldn't be struggling with energy so much. We weren't able to use Sandrone's burst in the second rotation and also not Beidou's burst. So 70k is probably possible here with a little bit more energy recharge. Also, I forgot to mention it before, but before you use the old characters like Beidou and Yae Miko with Sandrone, don't forget to do the new buff quest. I forgot what these quests are called, but the one where you go to Barbeloth and she reads the fortune. You gotta do those to actually unlock the buffs. But yeah, now let's go in one more time and see if you can do better this time. Okay, we're over 70k this time already. That's much better. Let me set this up again. Beidou doesn't have a burst again. Neither does Sucrose. Yeah, we are not getting the burst for the second rotation in this team. Oh well, that's just how it is, I guess. We did get Sandrone's burst this time though. That's good. No burst to end it off this time, so overall the DPS was actually worse, even though I feel like in the first rotation we did better. But yeah, I guess it's fair to say that this team just reaches around 60k. It probably could consistently get 70k if it weren't for the energy issues. And also if there were more than one target. Again, like I said, Beidou's potential is kinda scuffed here. Now, before I use the full premium team, let's just replace Beidou with Yae Miko, because I want to see how much of a difference it actually makes, since I have heard that Yae Miko is kinda insanely good for Sandrone, like in a completely different league than Beidou. So, let's see if there's any truth to that. I mean, so far the DPS doesn't look that different. Oh, I forgot to use Sucrose here. Let's actually restart. That was kind of scuffed. I accidentally pressed on 4 instead of 3. But yeah, 73k after the second rotation is a bit better, but not that much better. Okay, how much is the burst doing here? Pretty good. Okay, Sandrone got her burst back in time. So we have less energy issues here, I guess, than in the previous team. We also don't need to use Yae Miko's burst, as far as I know. Over 90k now. Yeah, it's definitely better. And the burst to finish it off. Yeah, there we go. 93k. Okay, yeah, that's of course a lot better. Okay, yeah. Yae Miko actually does make a big difference, even at C0. That is, like, night and day. I'm sorry, Beto, but you can't keep up here. That's an increase of 30k DPS just by switching out one character. That's how good Yae Miko is for Sandrone. And if we take a look at the damage distribution, Sandrone, of course, did the most damage here, but Yae Miko also did over 30%. That's not bad. And yeah, Sucrose and Chi-Chi, of course, are just here to support, not to do damage. Overall, pretty good. Like, this is not a very high-cost team, so 93k is actually really not bad. Now, let's replace Sucrose with Nicole and see if we can reach over 100k. Here we go. Just start with Nicole. Then set up Yae Miko's stuff, then Chi-Chi, and then we unleash Sandrone. Yeah, we're already at over 80k here. This is going pretty well, I would say. Okay, 95k, that's actually not that much more. Interesting. Very interesting. And the damage distribution, about the same. Yeah. But it seems like Sucrose is almost able to keep up with Nicole here. Or maybe I just did something wrong. I'm not sure if I actually should do the charge attack to elemental skill stuff with Sandrone 3 times per rotation. It might be the Chi-Chi's buffs already run out by then, so I don't get them for the burst. Maybe it's better to just do it 2 times and then use the burst. Shorten down the rotation a bit. That might be worth a try. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually try that. Okay, that was better. 97 now. So maybe it is actually better to just, you know, do it 2 times instead of 3 times. 71% Sandrone, 26% Yae Miko. Yeah, also Sandrone did a little bit more of the damage now. So this seems to be the better rotation overall. Okay, so you don't want to do this combo, this charged attack into when it goes on cooldown, then skill. You don't want to do this 3 times, just 2 times seems to be enough. And actually results in slightly higher damage. Still not 100k though. It might be possible. I'm gonna try a few more times. Okay, 96k. Yeah, we are getting consistently over 95k damage. But it's still not quite at the 100k that I was hoping for. Okay, there we go, 109k, that's more like it. I figured it out. It's very simple actually. It's Nicole. Her burst is actually DPS loss. As soon as I stopped using the burst, I easily got over 100k. So yeah, I guess in this team you really don't want to use Nicole's burst. But just in case this was just a stroke of luck or something, I'm gonna go in again while not using Nicole's burst to see if I can reproduce these results a second time. Yeah, again, over 100k, and it wasn't even difficult to do. So, definitely don't use Nicole's burst if you're using Nicole with Sandrone. The only 2 runs that reached over 100k were the ones where they didn't use the burst. And their damage distribution is still pretty much the same. 70% Sandrone, 30% Yae Miko. Okay, so now we could end the showcase here. We've shown everything, right? We've shown a free-to-play comp, we've shown a premium team, and we've seen that Sandrone can reach over 100k DPS. With just C0 supports, except Chi-Chi of course, but she's a standard character. But there is actually one more thing that I definitely wanna try in this. One more thing that I have to try. Another character that I want to play Sandrone with, no matter what. And that character is of course Kongamato. These two are just always so cute together in the story, I love them. Sandbina is my favorite ship, and yeah, I just really wanna play them together. And at first glance you would think, they don't really have much synergy in the kits, right? Since Sandrone is a stellar conduct focused character and Kongamato wants the lunar reactions, but if you put Cryo and Hydro together, you just get freeze, when there's no lunar freeze and there's no stellar freeze, at least not yet. But the thing is that you can actually make them work together pretty easily by just putting an Electro character with them, since both of them can do their special reactions with Electro. So I think if I just put Yae Miko in here, then that alone should make for a working team. And even better, if we put Inefa in here as well, since Inefa and Kongamato is of course one of the best wheelchairs in the game, so these alone could carry any team. But then we have Sandrone as our main DPS and Yae Miko as an additional sub DPS for the Stellar Conduct, and we should see a lot of Lunar Charged and Stellar Conduct in this team, especially since the way Electro Charged and Lunar Charged work is that the Hydro and Electro Aura actually stays on the opponent for a while. So we should still be able to trigger Stellar Conduct even after triggering Lunar Charged. In theory. I think this team should actually work really well. And since Kongamato and Inefa are such a good wheelchair, it might actually be more DPS overall than we saw with the Sandrone Premium team, which would be funny. But yeah, that's actually a possibility. So let's try this team. Let's try playing these two together. But first I have to rearrange them here, since I'm more used to having my main DPS on the 4th slot and my sustain in the 1st slot. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's play Sandrone and Kongamato together. Also, Inefa's burst gives Elemental Mastery to the active character, full team, I'm not sure. But she gives Elemental Mastery, which also helps with the Stellar Conduct damage. So I really think this is actually not a bad team, even though Kongamato and Sandrone are not really intended to be played together. But let's just start with Inefa here. Then we set up some Lunar Charge here with Kongamato. Yae Miko, and then we just do our main TPS stuff with Sandrone, and then we actually getting some Stellar Conduct here, and Lunar Charged, like I thought. We're already at 100k. Yeah, this is actually better than better than the other teams. Oh my god, look at this, 120k already. Yeah, this is probably gonna be my go-to Sandrone team, just playing her together with Kongamato. Is there anything better than this? The actual Sandbina team is destroying the meta. Heck yeah, I love this so much. Oh my god. This is all I wanted from this character. Who cares about premium teams when you can just do the Lunar Charged wheelchair and still do a ton of damage with the main DPS on top. There we go, finish it off with a juicy 143k DPS. Okay, yeah. That is so good. And let's see, Sandrone still did the most damage here. So to be fair, it's not even that much of a wheelchair, you know? I mean, it's less than 50%, so I guess that does qualify as a wheelchair comp, but honestly, I don't care. Sandrone is still doing the most damage here, she's still a good main DPS here, and yeah, it's overall just amazing. I love this team. I love this so much. I just really am so happy that I can play these two together, Kongamato and Sandrone. That's all I wanted. They don't have any direct synergy with each other, but just put an Electro unit with them and you're fine. You can actually use them together. Since both their special reactions want Electro, or at least one of Kongamato's special reactions. She of course has several. But yeah, Sandrone of course wants Electro. So yeah, this works. This definitely works. Also, to be fair to the other team, my Kongamato is C2. So the difference between the previous team that I tried and this one probably wouldn't be quite as big if my Kongamato were also C0, like my Nicole, you know? Or, you know, if Nicole were C2, like Kongamato, then we probably would see at least 120k from the premium team. We always have to keep that in mind, that the constellations are not really equal between those teams. It is going to be interesting to see, though, what's going to happen after Snezhnaya releases. We're definitely going to get some more Stellar Conduct supports, right? Are they going to be in 7.0 already? I don't know. I've heard some people say that Alyosha and Odette are coming, and that they might be good with Sandrone. If they are, that would be awesome, since I wanted to pull Odette anyway. Out of the characters shown in the Snezhnaya trailer, the three that really stood out to me that I really want to pull are Odette, Noi, and Tsaritsa, of course. So yeah, it would be awesome if Odette is actually a good support for Sandrone. I would really love that. But for now, we are done here. I hope you enjoyed this show. Wait, I almost forgot. I wanted to triple crown her at the end. I actually already recorded my outro, but then I remembered that I do have all the resources to give her 3 crowns. So let's do that real quick and then see how much that actually changes her damage. So first I'm gonna crown the normal attack. There we go, level 10. Then the skill, level 10 as well. Though the burst I think is actually more important, but it doesn't matter which order I do these in, since I'm crowning all 3 of the talents. And there we go. Now I have a triple crown Sandrone. She deserves it. She's one of my favorite characters. So of course I have to triple crown her. Now straight back to the Miliasto test dummy to see if this actually makes a noticeable difference. And for this I'm going back to the Nicole Chi-Chi team. Our previous highest DPS with this team was 109k. So let's see if we can get 110 now. getting over 500k there on the burst, which is really nice. Okay, 109k again, but I did see a 110k there for like a split second. Sandrone doing 72% now, that's the highest we've seen so far. But yeah, I'm gonna go in again because I didn't execute the rotation perfectly. So we can definitely get 110k here. Okay, again 109, but we're getting consistently 109 now, not 105 like before. 109 was the highest we could reach previously. Now we are always getting 109. So maybe I just had a really lucky run when I reached 109 with level 9 talents. There we go, 115k, that's more like it. And Sandrone did 71% here, so yeah, about the same as before in terms of the percentage, but definitely more damage overall. Love to see that. So it was definitely worth crowning her. And the nice thing about Sandrone is that actually all 3 talents are useful and are doing something and are worth leveling up. I mean, I would have triple crowned her even if one of the talents had been useless, but it is nice that for her it actually is not a waste of resources. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this showcase. If you did, then please leave a like, comment and subscribe for more Genshin Impact and other gacha content. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.